Jon Heyman, of course, MLB insider for us. He's got his podcast. He's on location now somewhere, John. It looks really sunny where you are. Where are you today?
I'm in Jupiter, Florida. I'm at the Marlins camp, but we're not allowed in many places. So I'm hiding behind the bathroom here so that I'm not in the wind. My voice is bad enough without the wind. So that's what I'm doing.
John, your hair looks great, by the way. I just want to let you know as you were trying to prop it up before you hit us.
Everybody has one good thing in their life. That's it. Yes.
You were blessed.
Got the hair. Yeah, I'm blessed with hair. Now, if I could get the voice, that would help.
You'd be fully back in business. Jon Heyman joining us from around the corner from the men's room. So we really appreciate that, John.
I didn't say it was the men's room, but you're close.
Okay, something. The bathroom. Okay, so couple things let's get into quickly, and I think one of the biggest stories in baseball, especially from yesterday, but it actually has nothing to do with New York, but it's about Texas and the fact that Texas Rangers, they said they're going to go 100% capacity for fans. Now you have to wear a mask, but 100% capacity for fans. I'm just curious, how did the rest of baseball react to that? Because you can mask up, but obviously the social distancing goes out the window if you're going to pack fans into a stadium like that. What did the rest of baseball have to say about that?
Well, I can say that there are other owners who like that. They love the idea of having more fans, not just because it's more exciting, but obviously there's more revenue if you have more fans. Obviously it's up to the state, and Texas has a governor who said, let's open up. So, they have I would say a new stadium. They were there last year. We saw that stadium in the playoffs, and, so it's the second year, but it's relatively new because the first year basically didn't count. So we shall see. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I can't tell you what the right thing is to do. My Twitter was split. Half the people said that they're idiots in Texas, and half said that we should open up and not be so scared. So, I'm not sure. I think they will be in the vast minority, though. There may be another one or two, but to this point, they're the only ones who are fully open.
And that's where our country is split on that. But they're going to open up to full capacity. John, Carrasco with the Mets. News yesterday that he was feeling some discomfort in his elbow, going to be shut down. We saw the MRI with Britton. He had surgery. What's the vibe you're getting around Carrasco and where is he going to be opening day?
Yeah, I can't see him being with the team opening day. I mean, that's just me talking, just having seen this many times. When somebody is shut down with less than 3 weeks to go, would take a rare pitcher to be ready for opening day. Obviously, the hope is that it's nothing serious and he'll be ready shortly after opening day. It's a big pitcher for the team. Obviously, I and others probably overlooked him to a degree because obviously he came with Lindor, superstar. But Carrasco is an excellent pitcher, fantastic guy. Obviously pitched, had leukemia, has overcome it, and pitched last year in the pandemic. He's got guts. We're going to hope for the best. And, if it's May 1st, I'd say they'd be happy with that at this point. As far as Britton goes, he's obviously going to miss a month with surgery before he has to ramp up again. So I would say June 1st is probably a good bet for him. If not shortly thereafter, I would say.
John, have you heard anything about, and I know they have, internal depth, but have you heard anything about the Yankees or the Mets trying to get in on the reliever market with Lugo with the Mets and then with Britton now with the Yankees?
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly a couple relievers left who are very good pitchers. Shane Green, who had been a Yankee originally, they traded him, I think that might have been the Didi trade. I can't recall exactly.
It was.
But, yeah. So, he's left, and he's a very good pitcher. He had a nice year, a couple of years with Atlanta, a year and a half. And now Jeremy Jeffress, which is a controversial one. The Nats cut him, didn't explain why. They said it was a personnel move. And, I think other teams are going to take a look at it. I know of one already that is already looking at Jeffress. So I do think he's going to get a job. Green obviously will get a job and is talking to teams. But, the Yankees bullpen is very good as is, even without Britton, but I'm sure they're looking at it, and the Mets too, with their situation in the pen. I would think that they would be looking at it as well.
John, you mentioned earlier in the week that this was going to be the week where the Mets and Lindor pick up negotiations in earnest, as you said. Anything of note that you've heard about the discussions between the two parties?
I have not, except that on Tuesday I asked if they had started already. And again, I was told very, very soon. So they may have started. They may have started yesterday or today, but they're starting this week. There's no question about it. The Mets would love to sign him, obviously long term. They clearly have the wherewithal to do it. They traded 2 shortstops with 9 years of shortstop play to get him, plus 2 prospects. So, I mean, they didn't give up their best prospects. I think it was a good trade. I'm not demanding the trade. I think it was worthwhile, certainly. But they'd love to get it done. As far as Lindor goes, he's a year from free agency. So he's one of the best players in the game. There are no guarantees that he will sign. You hear some rumors out there that he's told some teammates that he expects to be a free agent. Does that mean that much, or do we believe that? I don't know. It's kind of secondhand information, so I really haven't put it out there on Twitter. But secondhand, I've heard that there are some conversations where he's suggesting that he doesn't mind free agency. It's an interesting one though, because there are 5 great young shortstops who can be free agents after the year. Obviously, we know Baez as well, and Correa, Seager, Story, Lindor. Many people rank Lindor the top guy. He's never had an injury history. He's got the highest WAR, if that means anything to you. I know it didn't mean anything to Joe Beningo, but maybe it means something to you. I don't know. Personally, I think
it
Seager,
means combat to Beningo. It means wins by replacement to us, yes.
He wasn't into that newfangled stuff. But in any case, Lindor is one of the top players in the game. Does that mean I think he's the best one? I'm not sure. Personally, Seager can hit the best pitching as good as anybody in the game. And Story is an underrated superstar who can hit and power, speed. So it's debatable who the best player of the 5 is. Correa is obviously very talented as well. They turned on some music here. I'm going to have to move away from the music.
This is great.
But Heyman on the move.
But Lindor, I would say it's 50-50. I know the Mets would like to get it done. Of the 5, I think Baez is the most likely to get done. He's been a Cub his whole career and loves it there. And, he's got some negatives in terms of the offense. So I could see him not wanting to join the free agent mix. But Lindor, I would say, is 50-50. I'm not putting it higher or lower than that. The other ones, I would say lower than 50-50. I don't think they're going to sign before free agency.
John, with those rumors about Lindor and testing free agency, is it a case that he wants to just test free agency? Is it a case of uncertainty with the Mets, or is it a case that he doesn't feel the Mets will meet what he's looking for in a contract?
I just think free agency is very appealing to somebody who's one of the top 10 or 15 players in the game. So, I expect that he expects it will go well. The Indians made for them a good offer, somewhere over $200 million. And they didn't even come close, and they understood that. He was looking for over $300 million at the time. I think he had named his price. I don't know the exact price. Maybe the same with the Mets. He had said how much he loved Cleveland. He'd been there his whole career. So I don't know that the Mets would get any discount. So, I think we're going to – that's certainly an asking price. I think we're certainly going to be looking at close to $300 million. But as I said, just rumors from the clubhouse, third-hand rumors that – he doesn't mind the idea of free agency. Now, maybe that's just negotiation. He's done a good job so far with the negotiation. He's, 1 year from free agency as one of the top 10 or 15 players in the game. Do I think he's Mookie Betts? No, I don't think he's Mookie Betts. So we can put the cap at $360 million. I know he's not going to get that, but he probably will get close to $300 million. Now, he didn't have a great year last year, too. You have to put that into the equation. We'll see how he does this year. But the Mets would like to get it done before he even has a year, I'm sure.
Jon Heyman was first around the corner from the bathroom, now is relocated to in front of a fence. If you go get a hot dog right now or a pretzel, you're just a legend. You can watch us on Twitch, by the way.
No, there's no hot dog. There's no food stand here. I'm just amazed I was able to do it. So we have that going for us. But
very good.
No hot dogs for us. It's a different world in a pandemic.
That's true. That's true. We got to all abide by the rules. We understand why. Jon Heyman joining us, of course, our MLB Insider Big Time Baseball podcast as well. The hype is growing around Giancarlo Stanton, John, because, Stanton himself, Boone has said it, he's a better hitter now than he was his MVP season. Your reaction to that is what?
Well, those are nice words, but, I'm in Miami half the time. I saw that MVP season. He hit 59 home runs in a very big ballpark at the time. It was an incredible season. Barely won the MVP over Votto, but, if he's that good, I think they'll take it. I don't know that he has to be better than that. I think he's a terrific talent. He obviously looked great in the playoffs. The whole key for him and the Yankees, frankly, is just staying healthy. If Stanton is healthy, he's going to be great. Same with Judge. They've got guys, obviously, with an injury history. They've been haunted by injuries the last few years. Let's not forget, we went over the win-loss probabilities and the bets last week or the week before.
Yeah.
Theirs is 97 or 95.5, depending on the betting house. And no other team in the American League, I think, was above 91. So, they're a pretty darn good team and probably the best team, certainly on paper, in the league. They stay healthy. I think most people will look at them as the best team in the American League.
What about when you look at the complexion of the NL East? We've talked a lot about the Mets here. I know that you look at the PECOTA rankings, or they're not too high on the Atlanta Braves this season. But what about the Braves and the Mets? Do you think it ends up being those two teams in the National League East, John, battling it down to the wire?
Yeah, to me, the Braves are the favorite. I mean, I know I'm on a New York station here, but Ian Anderson looked fantastic in the playoffs last year. They're going to get a full year of Soroka, who's one of the better pitchers in the league, I believe. Max Fried came to the fore last year. So, and they signed Charlie Morton, who's a terrific playoff pitcher, terrific pitcher. So, I think the Braves have the best rotation. And obviously we know their offense they brought Ozuna back. Obviously they have Acuna, Albies. To me, the Braves are the favorite. PECOTA is nice. Sometimes they're right, but I think they're right less than I am, believe it or not. That's not a great record. So I think the Braves are the best team. I think the Mets are the second best team. They certainly improved a lot. If Carrasco's healthy, the rotation is solid. It's excellent with Syndergaard when he comes back, and they can hit. There's no question about it. Their defense, I think, is a question still. I'm still a little worried. Their hitting is excellent, but I'm a little worried about the defense. I rank the Mets the second best team. The Nats improved as well. I think and the Phillies improved too. So it's a deep division. They're clearly in the best division in the National League. I don't think there's any question about that.
Jon Heyman is our guest. Kind of flip-flopping here back and forth between the Mets and the Yankees, and just getting, do you have a sense, or from people who you've talked to, just going back to the Yankees for a minute, about, that fifth starter spot? We saw Domingo Germán pitch last night. He pitched really well, 3 innings, couple strikeouts. Davy Garcia has looked really well. If they go with the traditional sort of 5-man rotation, John, any idea about who might get that fifth start and who might go to the bullpen?
Yeah, that's a good question. Between those two that you just mentioned there, could be either one. I mean, I think it's a pitch off. Like in every camp, you've got competitions, and we'll see. I think Germán would be the logical one, the most likely, as long as he's pitching well. It seems like I don't want to say past the issue, but, as far as the organization is concerned, they're not holding it against him. He did win 18 games as a starter a couple of years ago. So I would say Germán probably has the inside track, but I consider that a competition.
John, overall here, what are the challenges? We talked to open up the conversation talking about the Rangers and having full capacity. I'm just, we talked to Trevor May yesterday. He said it's going to be a little bit different, month one for baseball players after the condensed season a year ago. What are you hearing from teams on how they're going to handle their players first month of the MLB season?
Yeah, I think the big question is the pitching depth and the ability to throw a lot of innings after the pitchers went through a 60-game season. Let's face it, the pitchers were throwing, 100 innings tops. I guess last year, I don't even know if anybody hit 100 innings, but they certainly didn't have the innings. I don't think it's that big a concern for a guy with thousands of innings under their belt like Max Scherzer. But, the young guys, and that's the Atlanta rotation, really their top three starters, not counting Morton, are young. I do think it's an issue. I would have liked to have seen a larger roster with more pitchers due to the fact that they're coming off of a season with only 60 games. 37.5% of the season was played last year. The innings is a big deal. The pitching, big deal. And the injuries, we've got to avoid pitching injuries. It's been a terrible last really 10 years or more in terms of pitching injuries. And the teams need to be careful. And, guys are going to be ramped up rather slowly, I think, through the season this year because of the lack of innings last year.
John, last one for me, and it's toss-up. So, it's only spring training, and so we have to always put that caveat on. But give me a player who you are hearing, excellent things about and people are super excited, and then give me someone who people are starting to chirp maybe a little bit like, uh-oh, this person doesn't look so great coming into now that we're a couple weeks into spring.
Okay, I like that. A nice curveball thrown at me. I think Jeff McNeal is a player who's going to be a star, a big star. I know he didn't have his best year last year. I'm hearing people suggest that he's going to show more power. Could be a 25 home run guy. Maybe I'm putting a big number on him, but I'm looking at him as a potential major star. As far as guys who would not be as good as someone might think, that's a tough one in spring training. I don't want to judge anybody on spring training. I covered enough
it might be unfair.
beat writing spring trainings to know that some guys really take it seriously. Like Jimmy Key had an ERA of 0 every spring training. Now, he was good every year too, but he didn't have a 0 ERA in the regular season. So, and some guys are just terrible in spring training. So I don't want to put anything on that. I mean, I would look at the injuries. That's the worry. You see injuries in spring training. Obviously they try to look at the bright side of the injuries. And, in many cases, it portends a rough year for the player. But, I don't want to pick anybody out, single anyone out for a downfall.
No, it's just the person who showed up in the worst shape of their life. That's what we're always looking for spring training. Everyone's in the best shape.
Other than the writers, players are in good shape. They could, when I started covering in '87, there were a lot of players that, shall we say, were not in perfect shape, particularly at the beginning of spring training. But now it's pretty rare to see someone who comes in, let's say, 5'11" and 250. You don't see that very often.
Jon Heyman.
John, thank
you. Thank you for walking your way around the park down there in FLA and making time for us.
You're in some kind of supply closet now or something. Is that a broom
music
behind
was
you?
chasing me. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. Good to talk to you guys.
It's great. It's unbelievable.
Listen, anyone who's been
the video's fantastic.
Who's worked a lot in the depths and the bowels of a stadium, any stadium, understands what that cement brick looks like. Yeah, you're back in the janitor's closet there. Johnny,
thank you, brother.